Cardboard, coming at you from the great state of Louisiana with a neat little video today. I thought of this a couple days ago, just thinking to myself, if there were three things, I had to choose just three things in the hobby that I would change immediately, right? Not waiting for fanatics to change them, but that I would change right now, what would those three things be? So what I did is I posted on Instagram. For those of you who watch my channel or who are listening on Spotify or one of those other podcast platforms, please get on Instagram if you're not on Instagram yet. We want you on Instagram. We want as much of the hobby on Instagram as possible. It's sort of the place to share pictures of cards and educate yourself and laugh if you like to look at memes and just really have general discussions and illustrative discussions where you can actually see pictures of cards. So what I did is I posted a pretty popular card you guys may have heard of. I did make sure, as you can see over here in the comments, to let everyone know this pick is for attention only. It is not my card yet. So if I'm going to buy a baseball card, I think I'm going to save up and buy this $12.5 million Mickey Mantle card, or 12.6 or whatever it was. But anyway, as I say in the comments that you can read over here, I'm looking for input and I'm soliciting input about what you guys would change. If you could change any three things in the hobby, what would you change? If you had a genie that came to you, just like in Aladdin, and the genie said, I'll give you 3 wishes in the hobby, what are your 3 wishes? And of course, you can't wish for more wishes. That's against the rules, even in the Hobby Genie's book. So we've got some great comments from some great collectors out there. Adam, the Real Guy 27, is the first one to jump in, and he says more emphasis on cards rather than their valuation, more love given to collectors of all levels, I guess, as opposed to investing, and then more interest towards education rather than drama. I am with him on all 3 of those. He even did it in 29 words, but as I said, LOL is 3 words, so he went over. Super Trout comes in with no PSA upcharge BS. I don't know what BS stands for. No, I'm kidding. I agree, Super Trout. I don't like the PSA upcharge. No eBay authenticity guarantee. You know I agree with that because I've done 2 videos addressing the subject. And I think the input from comments on those videos was very clear that a lot of us agree with you, Super Trout. No social media influencers pushing an agenda. I agree. I try to do my best. I certainly don't consider myself an open quotes influencer, close quotes, because I think there's a distinction between social media, engaging in social media or putting out content on social media or YouTube or whatever podcast platform of choice. I think there's a distinction between simply disseminating information and disseminating information with the intent to influence others, to push your personal agenda. I hope I'm not perceived as one of those influencers, but I agree with you. There's a lot of influencers on a lot of social media content on YouTube and whatnot where, people are trying to get others to see things their way. Yeah, that's a tricky one because influencer in and of itself is not a bad word, but when you're not genuine about why you're trying to promote something, and you don't truly believe in that thing, or you're doing it for your own personal gain, it's a problem. So yeah, that's a big one. Good call right there, Super Trout, on all 3 of those, Super Trout. The cost of new wax has to go down somehow. David from Riverfront Collectibles, I could not possibly agree more. Riverfront always on point. It has to go down. Right now, people are paying so much for hobby boxes, and it was always this way, but now it's even more extreme. That people are paying so much for hobby boxes with no hope possibly of even breaking even. I mean, you could even hit a couple of cards that you need to hit and not break even. More emphasis on the card than the grade. Basketball card guy, astute as always. I couldn't possibly agree more. Right now, the hobby is hypersensitive to grades and even half grades, right? If you're talking about BGS or SGC, oftentimes those half grades or subgrades can mean, I'm not exaggerating, 5-6 figures difference from one card to another of the same exact card. When you can buy, 8 PSA 9s for the price of 1 PSA 10, you have to start to ask yourself, have we gone too far? Has the hobby swung too far? Is there too much of an emphasis on the grade rather than the card itself? Simon 466 says, yeah, you and I are definitely on the same page there. Simon and I are almost always on the same page. He is a brilliant mathematician, Simon says, I think we can agree on fewer parallels. And I said, yeah, hell yeah, you're right, Simon. And he also says patches that are not associated with any event whatsoever, not player worn, not game worn, not specific game worn. Yeah, everybody in the hobby would agree with that. That's a huge one, right? I think fewer parallels is a very, very, very big one. Game or player worn at the very least is another big one. The perception that PSA 10 is king. I think Simon's, elucidating that the hobby has concluded that PSA 10s are significantly more valuable than other gem mint graded cards from other grading companies, and maybe that there's too large of a disparity, or maybe there should be no disparity at all, is what Simon 466 Cards is alluding to. I'm with you. A dramatic shift, and I should have liked that. I didn't. Sorry. Forgot to like his stuff. But a dramatic shift towards creative, innovative designs away from autos, patches, and endless parallels. So mostly 90s basketball cards has some idea for some different stuff. And of course, if you look at his page, he's got some really cool stuff always on his page. Thanks to 90s basketball for that. Let me go back up here. What's happening? Here we go. Lower fees for buying and selling, 5% total or less on bigger platforms from Grail Card Quest. Agreed. Lower buying and selling fees would be huge. I think, what are you looking at? 14%, 15%, depending on the price point and the shipping cost on eBay. That's eating up margin. You would think that if you could buy something and it appreciates, by 10% or 15%, you could at least break even. And that might not be the case right now on eBay. I mean, if I bought something and it went up 15% over the next 30 days, you would think you could profit from that, from making a shrewd, wise financial decision or an investment, from an investment perspective. But really, you might not be able to, depending on the platform that you're selling on. Now, there are alternatives to eBay out there, PWCC, Golden, Heritage, Mile High, Robert Edwards, My Slabs. How about this? There's no fees except for the shipping cost, and you don't necessarily have to pay them as the seller on Instagram or Facebook. So there's other ways to sell cards out there, but yeah, I agree. On the bigger platforms, the ones that we see used the most often, I would say PWCC, Golden for big stuff, and then eBay for the little stuff. On those like monster platforms, I would like to see lower fees. Does eBay really need 15% of $8 gazillion that they make? I don't know. I mean, again, that's not a nonprofit, so they're running the business, I'm sure. Demand 1980 cards, great PMG collector. Cards more affordable. Agreed. We saw that earlier with cheaper wax. More standardized grading across or within companies. Yes, a 9.5 here should be a 9.5 there, or at least a gem mint should be a gem mint, should be a gem mint. Within companies and for more card companies. More Q&Aing their cards before inserting into packs. I guess what he means is better quality control. Let's inspect the cards. Let's make sure they're somewhat relatively centered. I mean, if these dudes can get a Mickey Mantle that you see on your screen from 1952, that's 48, 68, like 70 years ago. If they can center that, then surely, Panini should be able to center a doggone silver prism from 2021, right? Less redemptions, absolutely. Everybody is in agreement with that. That is something that I think almost 100% of the hobby unanimously would agree on. I don't think it's the biggest issue. It's not going to make it into my top 3 if I had to pick 3 for my genie wishes, but it is one that I think everybody can agree on. There's no confusion or no disagreement on that. What about competition between manufacturers? No exclusivity or monopoly BS. Sports Card Show says they want more than just Fanatics. They want more than just Panini. They want competition like it used to be in the late 80s and 90s where you had Fleer and Donruss and Score and Topps, and they were all going at each other. And then amongst those different manufacturers, you had different products, just like we do today. American competition would be nice. There you go. Transparency on print runs. That's big. So I don't want to spoil it, but that is a very high on my list of wishes that I'm going to ask to be granted when my hobby genie comes to visit me. Transparency on print runs and production. I want to know how much of every single card is printed. Every single card, from base to silver to retail to hobby, every single one. We know on the serial numbered cards how many are out there. I want to know on every single card. And I don't mean you need to stamp a serial number on every single card. I just mean I want to see on the outside of the pack how many you printed. Obviously, that would assume that we believe that Panini would tell us the truth or Fanatics would tell us the truth. Like, you don't need to stamp 50,000 on a card, but if there's 50,000, base chronicles, of this particular player, I want to know that there's 50,000. If there's 20, I want to know that there's 20. Punishment for hobby offenses, fines and jail time. Whoa, let's relax. Everybody makes mistakes out there. I think people get hammered quite enough in social media and with their reputation. I don't think we need fines or jail time. So we got to draw a line somewhere there, Sports Cards Show. 3-piece spicy cards. This was one of the more interesting commenters and one of the more interesting pages. So 3-piece spicy cards says, Panini and ultimately Fanatics partner with Popeyes. Yes, Popeyes the restaurant. I want Popeyes Happy Meals with greasy sports cards directly inside of the chicken box with no protection, including super short print chase cards that are selectively placed in the spicy chicken sandwich bags. This will be this era's tobacco potato chip bubblegum cards. And as you can see, 3-piece spicy cards blends everything that we love about America, which is Popeyes fried chicken and sports cards. Grail Card Quest comes in, PWCC app and website to work without any bugs. I personally never have any issues whatsoever. I know people do complain about it, and I don't know if it's what area you're in, or maybe I'm just lucky in the swamps down here, but I have never, ever, once, ever had any problem with any bugs on PWCC when I'm trying to get bids in or auctions or buy things. I've never had any issues. I don't know. That's just me. Comment below this YouTube video and let me know if I'm just in the minority or I've just been dumb lucky all these years, but I've never had issues with any app, to be honest with you. Golden, PWCC, eBay, none of that crap. I've never had any problems getting bids in. I guess that's what Grail Card Quest is talking about, but maybe I'm just in the very small minority. Fly2 Cards says no more sticker autos. 100% unanimous. I'm sure everyone would agree with that. Even if that means fewer autos, do it. Let's do it. Let's make autographs mean something. Let's not let these athletes sign 35,000 stickers. Let's make autographs mean something. Let's make it mean if you get an autograph card, that athlete touched it and signed it directly on the card. No redemptions, yes. Standardized automated grading, 8s equal 8s equal 8s equal 8. Yes, we can all agree on that. I think that is something even a genie can't do, but, especially since there's human intervention and humans determine the grades ultimately. Lakers Exquisite says no more sticker autos, no more non-game use patches. We've heard them both, and we agree with both Lakers Exquisite. Rick's NBA cards, get rid of scammers. Yeah, everybody would agree with that. Reduce selling fees, IRS eating away from profits. Same thing we heard earlier about the bigger platforms charging less in fees. PSA club value grading back at $12. Man, I'm with you. Rick's NBA cards. If PSA reopened at $12, I think it would be a huge cash injection into the hobby. I think it would bring, even those low profit margin base prism flippers back into the market, which again, people bitch and complain, and it did slow PSA down, but this is our wish, right? Our genie wish is that we could go back to $12 and it would not change the turnaround time, right? That's our wish. We get to make our wish. That's our wish. So I don't know if you can go back to $12 grading fees and not create another backlog and just kind of revisit the same problem that we saw in 2021 where PSA had to shut down. Maybe you could now because there are still there's significantly more grading options out there with BGS and CSG and SGC. Maybe we could go back to $12 and not have a backlog. And we also know that, Nats said on numerous occasions on different interviews that they've opened an East Coast office. They've, increased their grading capacity in their infrastructure and what they could handle, by magnitudes, massive magnitudes. So maybe we can go back to $12 or $15 and not have the same backlog problem. Hockey Cards Up says increased security by card manufacturers, photograph and catalog patch cards. I guess what he's getting at, microchips to prevent counterfeiting. What he's getting at is maybe the manufacturers could find ways to prevent cards from being counterfeited. I don't think that's that big of a problem with ultramodern cards. Maybe I'm naive. It's a huge problem in the 90s, and then it's a huge problem with certain cards like the Gretzky and the Jordan and all that, but it's too late to kind of fix those Hockey Cards Up. But that's what Hockey Cards Up. No more initial autos, full signatures only. Yeah, I'm with you. You've seen some really crazy autographs out there where it's just basically initials because the athletes don't give a damn. They just want their paycheck. Send all breakers that scream over a $10 hit to outer space. So I think he's alluding to the over exuberance from some breakers out there when they hit cards that aren't quite, open quotes, hits, close quotes. I have no problem with being excited, obviously, as you can see by the way that I interact when I produce these videos. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Every breaker wants to say they hit the big one. Sometimes it's not the biggest of the big ones. Cardboard Junkie even said that he would chip in for the rocket fuel to send those over exuberant breakers to outer space. Chronic Collectible says standardized grades. I guess that means parity across all grading companies. More game used memorabilia and less redemptions. Easy 1, 2, 3 that everybody can agree on. Jay Kern 33 cards says get rid of Whatnot. He does not like Whatnot. Get rid of it. K Dizzle's card says every single card serial numbered. So we kind of talked about that, right, with the print run. I don't know if that's feasible or not, but I like it. Base, autos, inserts, everything. Every product's either retail or hobby only. That would be great, and I think that would help kids. Like, if you knew a product was retail only, maybe that would help get kids back in and suppress these exorbitant prices that people are paying for wax. And then universal grading standards across all companies. Man, there's a lot of that. Am I wrong? A lot of people are chiming in with the same thing about they want 10s to be 10s to be 10s. Less persuasive content, trees to cards. I'm not sure what that means. I guess what he means is less influencer content where they're trying to persuade you to buy or do something or act in a certain way for self-benefit. More honesty and document undocumented comps. I guess he wants more parity, more comps. Is that an Anthony Simons that I see? I think that's an Anthony Simons right there. And there it is. There he is. There's Ann Man. Okay, stacking gems. I bought it. Haha. I don't know what that means. Stacking gems. You're going to have to explain that one to me. I'm not sure what that means, but it just says, I bought it. Haha. I think he means the mantle. Sorry, I'm just now getting it. Stacking gems picked up the mantle. Congratulations. You can add that to those blue Spider-Man cards or Daredevil cards or whatever those are down there. Maybe he bought the mantle. Watashiwa 05. By the way, I don't think they've identified who bought the mantle, have they? Maybe they have, and I'm just in the dark. I don't really care because it's a baseball card and it doesn't mean much to me. But comment below if we know who bought that mantle that you see on your screen. I don't think that they shared that yet, but maybe I'm wrong. Watashiwa 05. Products without auto memorabilia hits and lower price points for opening product. Third would be no redemptions. Yep. Cheaper Hobby Boxes, Cardhead says Cheaper Hobby Boxes. And not the first time we've seen that one. Sports Card Dad says this one is easy. The Mirage, that PSA is the only grading company of worth. 4 very capable grading companies. And then I think my man Jeremy Lee, newly signed free agent by Tag. Jeremy Lee, the great sports content creator and the content godfather, chimes in. That Tag is also an option out there. Now that would make sense. I'm sure Tag was one of the 4 Super Trout. Yep, that's right. Slapdown Card says more kid-friendly products, shops and shows, fewer clowns that are here for a quick buck and don't actually collect. A ban on additional vaulting options. We have plenty of vaulting options right now. Slapdown Cards, I know there's a bunch of options out there. I think Golden has one, PSA has one, eBay has one, PWCC has one. There may even be more out there. Obviously, ComC's one. There may be more out there than I know about. Direct sales. This is one card, one story. Direct sales of all singles from card companies to consumers. Wow, so just cutting out everything, cutting out packs, cutting out middlemen, and selling cards directly to consumers from the card manufacturers themselves. More emphasis on collections and less on investing. Yep, card companies disclose total print runs of all cards and sets. I think that number 3, card companies disclose total print runs and or serial number every single card, would be phenomenal. I think it would, provide that much needed transparency. I've got a video coming out where we talk about 2018 Luka Doncic rookie cards. I think you guys, your jaw is going to hit the floor when you realize how many graded Luka Doncic rookie cards there are out there in the market. I don't think that many people understand exactly the magnitude of the problem with the overprinting from Panini. And that's 2018. We know 2019 was worse as far as overproduction, and I don't think that there's any reason to believe that they didn't print more for the 2020 than they did for the 2019, and so on and so on. So we can only hope and pray that when Fanatics takes over, which is hopefully sooner rather than later, they'll chill with this overproduction and overprinting of all the cards. Not just too many parallels, but too many cards, period. Justin's PC says more transparency, less talk about cards that could be interchanged with stocks. Look, I'm guilty of this. I think the investment aspect of the hobby is a fascinating one. It's interesting to me. It makes it more enjoyable. But I do agree, and I've always said that ultimately there has to be an end user who wants the card more than the green cash dollars in their hand for anything to have value in this hobby. At some point, somebody has to say, I want that card more than I want those dollars. And I don't think, we're ever going to get to that point in a, pure vacuum where everybody wants the thing more than the dollars. But, investing is a big part of the hobby. I think it's an important part of the hobby. I think it makes collecting and investing more fun. Just me. Not a swipe at anyone in particular. Insight Sports LA says PSA needs to expand enough to where they can grade quickly at an affordable price. The demand is there. Yeah, the demand is there. There's a lot of people, including myself, hand raised, that I've got literally hundreds of cards cleaned, prepped in brand new penny sleeves and semi-rigid card saver ones ready to send to PSA whenever they say the word and they go back to 15 or 18 again. Hundreds. Yes, hundreds. One more card says more attention to the international market. I want a respectable grading company in Europe. Fair enough. I don't know much about what's in Europe or what options there are for grading cards in Europe, but that's about it. Look, and I've got these pulled up. I just kind of put them down and gave some attribution to whoever suggested these things. A lot of great ideas, a lot of great input. Thank you for all of you guys who responded. I appreciate it. With a quick response as well. I wanted to put this video out there. My three are this. Look, again, this is like choosing your Mount Rushmore for basketball. If you say, Magic Johnson's not in the, top 4 basketball players of all time, it's not an insult that Magic Johnson sucked. It's just that you don't think he's in the top 4. So out of all of these tremendous suggestions, I had to choose 3, and the 3 that I chose are highlighted. Now, I think some of these 3 would solve some of the other problems that were mentioned. Fewer products. Just make less. Just make less products. I don't know how many there are. I think at one point there was like 30 plus, 40. I don't know. Somebody comment below and let me know if I'm crazy on that. But I think Panini, and we're talking specifically about basketball cards on this channel, I think there was 30 plus products. Why don't we just make 10? Why don't we release 1 every month or every month and a half and just release 10 throughout the year? Or maybe 1 a month for the first 5 months, because that's when we're the most hyped and excited about getting rookie cards, and then kind of go from there. Wouldn't that help this supply chain bull crap that Panini is alluding to, that they can't get, like I'm just now getting Prism? Like we're just now, this week, we're going to get Optic Basketball. These guys finished their season. Their rookie season's over. I'm ready to go buy Paolo Banchero, and I'm still getting products that feature rookies from the prior year. I think if Panini produced fewer products and actually worried about eliminating sticker autos on those products, worried more about the products themselves and produce fewer of them, increase quality, decrease quantity, I think it would check a lot of boxes. So that would be one of my 3 wishes for sure. Wish number 2 would be fewer parallels within each product. Too many. It's just too many, and the more you make, the less they mean. I don't know how else to put it. Right now, it seems to me like Mojo and Orange should be really important within Prism. I'm just going to use that as an example. But they're really not. Black and gold, that's it. Black, gold, nebula. That's pretty much your run right there. And that is kind of the hobby trying to tell Panini, chill out, man. I think 10 would be the number. Maybe 12, something like that. But if you go back to like 2012 Prism and 2013 Prism, man, those were the days. If you've got a color, it matters. Like any color. Go to 2012 Prism. If you've got a silver, a green, or a gold, it's big dollars and it really matters. Whereas right now, there's just too much going around. It just doesn't matter that much. So fewer parallels with it, fewer products, then fewer parallels even within those fewer products. And then lastly, for me, it would be transparency on print runs. I think I would like Fanatics to tell all of us as collectors and investors how many there are of each card that they make. I don't care if they really stamp the serial number on the back of each card. That's great. I mean, that would be fine, but it's not necessary. I think what's necessary is that we know how many of those are out there. Like how many of you guys I don't want to spoil the video, but I've got a video coming out. How many of you guys think there's more than 1 million Doncic rookie cards printed? That would be, comment below if you think there's more or less than 1 million Doncic rookie cards. Comment below if you think there's more or less than 150,000 Gem Mint Luka Doncic graded rookie cards from 2018 across all of the products. Comment below if you think there's more or less than 150,000 Gem Mint graded Doncic cards. I would be curious to see what you guys think. But those are my three, guys. That's it. Transparency on print runs. I want to know how many and how much you're printing. And then I want you to print fewer products. I don't need 30 products. We don't need Recon. We don't need Origins. We don't need Chronicles. If you want to keep low-end products out there, make 3 low-end and 7 high-end. You got your 3 staple chromium products with Prism, Select, and Optic. You print your hoops and your Donruss for the kids and for cheap, and then you tell us what the print run is, and you tell us you printed 450,000 Paolo Banchero base hoops. That's fine. Tell us. That way we can not pay money for them. PSA 10s will sell what they should. The Raw will sell what they should. And then the kids can collect those products and put them on retail shelves. And then you make your exquisite, you make your immaculate, your flawless, and your national treasures. And then you sprinkle in 3 or 4 more. Maybe your noirs or, your impeccables. I'm leaving some out, I'm sure. Your Court Kings, stuff like that. Maybe you print 15, but don't print 40. Don't print Recon. Don't print Flux. Don't print all this crap. It's not well received. We don't want it. We don't like it. It confuses people. It doesn't have any staying power. So fewer products, fewer parallels within the product. Go back to like maybe 10 to 12, and then transparency on print runs. Again, there's a million things that I left out. No sticker autos, game worn only, fewer grading companies. But look, I only had 3 choices, and so those are my choices. But I think if you employed those 3, if my Hobby Genie could grant those 3, then Panini wouldn't have to be shoving, random jerseys off the rack at Walmart into cards, because they'd have more time to focus on the quality of the fewer products and the fewer parallels and the fewer autos and the fewer, patch cards that they're going to produce. They wouldn't have to produce 50x what they're going to produce, and it would solve some of those other problems. Some of the other ones that maybe I didn't mention were some people wish there were fewer grading companies. Some people wish there were more grading companies. So that's funny, and that's an interesting disparity in the hobby. Some people want more competition, and some people just want fewer grading companies for ease of use and entry into the market and more knowledgeable, hobbyists out there. And then fewer sales platforms. That's one that I came up with. That would be very high on my list, probably in my top 10. I wish that there was a more uniformed, consistent, more tailored, narrow focused place to buy and sell cards. I think that would really help our hobby. Faster turnaround time is a big one. More or easier direct to consumer distribution. Make it easier to get cards. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it's tough because our local card shops don't get quite the quantity of wax that, some of these other bigger breakers do and some of these other bigger shops around the country do. So that's a big one. But anyway, those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your top 3 are in the comments. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these comments. There's so many great collectors out there, and some of the people that commented, on this post that I put on Instagram are just some of the best collectors and investors out there. So I appreciate the input. Anyway, just my thoughts, guys. If you had a Hobby Genie come to you and said, hey, I'll grant you 3 wishes, what are your 3 wishes to change right now, right? Hopefully Fanatics watches this video and they're listening. Hopefully the current owners of Panini still care a little bit, even though they're on their way out the door. We know they don't really care because they're not changing anything. But wouldn't it be nice if we had a genie that could grant these 3 wishes for us? So hopefully you guys enjoyed this neat little video. Keep collecting. Please stay positive in the hobby, and peace.